We are talking about what's happening within the city of San Antonio today with Mayor Ron Nirenberg. He is joining us in our KSAT Q&A here this evening. Mayor, good to see you. Thanks for being here and sharing some time with us. You know, for the better part of 2 years, we have talked so much about COVID and the pandemic's effect on our community. Now that it is not a prime focus, not as huge of a concern, what do you think is the biggest priority for the city going forward?
Well, there's a few, but two of them rise to the top. And number one is that we have a full, robust, and equitable economic recovery. Every family, every business, every individual in our community has suffered impacts through this pandemic that go beyond just the health part of it. And when you get folks back on their feet, into jobs, healthfully, and make sure that they have the proper supports around them, which is a community-wide effort. The other part of this is to make sure that we're in a better position to withstand challenges and crises going forward. And so building up our health infrastructure and our preventative wellness, making sure that we emerge from this pandemic stronger, that we assess the impacts in terms of the trauma and the pain that people have experienced over the last couple of years is absolutely important so that we can be a healthy community again as well.
You know, we're a week and a day away from the official kickoff of Fiesta. A lot of the regulations have been pulled back. What are you hopeful for as we head towards Fiesta, and will there be any kind of safety protocols in place for the Fiesta events?
Well, the safety protocols are this. People need to be responsible, and the first and most important thing they should do in light of wanting to get back together again is to get boosted. Make sure you're up to date on your vaccines. That's something we've been saying for a long time now. We are at a low point in terms of infections and transmission of COVID. We have been hearing about other variants and subvariants and things like that. That's always going to be present with us. Other infectious diseases are. The important part now is that we have the tools to protect ourselves. And frankly, if you're immune compromised, you need to think about the places that you are as you normally would, and be careful. But the most important thing people can do is to use the tools that are available to us and have been for a while, and that starts with getting vaccinated and get your vaccinations up to date.
We know what to do, and it's going to feel good to have Fiesta. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit, and let's talk about the restoration project at Brackenridge Park. That plan to restore a lot of the historic structures that are there along the river right now involves cutting down a lot of trees. That certainly has drawn criticism and some passion from people who would like to see an alternative. Public meetings are going on right now to try to come up with something like that. So where do we go from here? Because right now, that plan to cut those trees down, it's not moving forward, correct?
Well, it's being paused for the season because once those migratory birds start to settle into those trees, we can't really do anything with them at that time anyway. So, the window in terms of getting construction started on these very important improvements, mind you, the window sort of closed when we decided to do some additional rounds of public input. So we're going to get that public input. We're going to see what modifications can be made. But ultimately, remember that the work that's going on right now is publicly supported through votes, and it's an ecological restoration as well as a historic preservation. So all of us want to see as much of the tree canopy, especially the heritage trees in Brackenridge, preserved. There are going to be some adjustments to the plan. I'm pretty confident about that. But we have to remember what the goals of the project are, which are to restore the ecological heritage and preserve the historic parts of Brackenridge Park that are treasures and should be so, just like our natural environment. We want to make sure that we don't impact the migratory birds negatively. We also don't impact heritage trees where they are not going to be an issue for the construction, and we can move forward together. So there's going to be a lot more public input. I expect that there's going to be some adjustments made, but we'll come to a conclusion, I think, that everyone feels good with.
Yeah, hopefully there's a solution there. All right, I want to talk before we go. Obviously, next month is the tax deadline. You've been very vocal about people taking advantage of the child tax credit. Talk about that a little bit so people know what you're talking about.
Sure. Absolutely. And this is important, and it's part of a national approach to economic recovery to help those impacted families. But I will be leading a push with the rest of the Texas mayors, bipartisan mayors, to make sure that families take advantage of the expanded child tax credit. And that is roughly $3,000 to $3,600 per family based on income level. And for married people, it's $150,000. For single adult earners, single parents, it's $112,500. So the eligibility is pretty significant and includes a lot of families that have been impacted. We want to make sure that they are aware, that they have the information, and that they, of course, file their taxes and have the assistance needed to do it correctly. And if folks need that help, they can go to childtaxcredit.gov. But importantly, this is your tax money. Make sure you get credited with the expanded child tax credit available to you.
All right, so childtaxcredit.gov to find out some more information about that. Mayor Ron Nirenberg, thanks so much for being here this evening.
Anytime. Have a great evening.
You too. We'll be right back.